I wasn't planning to switch. Honestly, I wasn't even thinking about cars. The 2024 Sienna was just fine. It got me from daycare, to dentist, to soccer practice, to midnight grocery runs without a hiccup. The hybrid fuel economy. Excellent. The ride smooth enough. The safety rock solid. I thought I had my family minivan sorted, wrapped up in a neat little Toyota bow. But sometimes, fine isn't enough. Sometimes fine doesn't save time, or sanity, or spilled juice. In the third row, the day I saw the 2025 Sienna, I wasn't even in the market. I was at the dealership for a recall check on the 2024 model, when a sales rep, barely older than my nephew, nudged me with a grin. "You should see what they've done for 2025. He said like he was offering me a secret. I rolled my eyes, because what could they possibly improve in a single model year? And then I stepped inside. It didn't feel like a minivan anymore, it felt like an answer. The scent of new leather, the shimmer of that larger touchscreen, glowing like a command center, the faint purr of the hybrid engine when the ignition came. Alive, all of it felt, intentional. Like someone at Toyota sat down with a tired parent and said, "Tell me everything that drives you crazy about your daily routine. Now let's fix it." The first thing that hit me, the fridge box. Not some oversized, clunky cooler wedged into a console. No, this was elegant, built-in, chilled, just right. My daughter's yogurt tubes, ice cold, my son's juice packs. Perfect. For once, I wasn't digging into a sticky lunch bag while trying to merge onto the freeway. And right beside it, a built-in vacuum. As in goldfish, crackers, gone. Muddy cleats, handled. No more apologizing to Uber passengers when I carpool with neighbors. No more Sunday panic cleaning. And the seats. Oh, the seats. The second row, super long slide captain's chairs moved so smoothly they felt like part of some luxury theater experience. My kids could stretch, slide, recline, and for once, they didn't scream about who got the good seat. Every ride felt less like a hostage negotiation and more like a glide through suburban serenity. The 12.3-inch touchscreen, that actually responded like an iPad. No delay, no freezing. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, of course. But what made it different was the integration, the way the system felt baked into the dashboard, not bolted on. And paired with a 12-speaker JBL sound system, even my wife, the classical music snob, admitted it was better than the stereo at home. But what sealed it for me wasn't a gadget, it was something terrifying. A week into the test drive, I left the car running in the driveway while unloading groceries. It was late. I was distracted. My 3-year-old had fallen asleep in the back row, silent as the night. I was halfway to the house when my phone buzzed. Rear seat occupant detected. I froze, turned, looked. She was still buckled in. Safe, but nearly forgotten. The 2025 Sienna had radar-based rear seat detection. Not pressure sensors, not a beep when the door closes. Real radar. It didn't just guess someone was in the back, it knew. It watched, even when I didn't. I stood there for a moment, keys trembling in my hand. And it hit me. This wasn't just a smarter car, that it was a wiser one. That night, I started noticing the little things. The hands-free power sliding doors that responded to my foot swipe when my hands were full. The 4-zone climate control, keeping each kid in there. Goldilocks temperature zone, the heated leather-wrapped steering wheel that made morning commutes less miserable in December, and the AWD option that handled a sudden spring downpour like it was nothing. It was the small stuff, the details no one tells you about in specs, that started to matter most. But I wasn't blind. I still had doubts. For all its flash, the 2025 Sienna had a few things I was cautious about. There's no V6 option anymore, and I missed that punchy, old-school torque. Sure, the hybrid was efficient, 36 mpg, but I worried about acceleration on steeper inclines, and the price, it stung. The jump from 2024 to 2025 wasn't tiny, especially if you wanted the XSE or Platinum trims, which, let's be honest, are the ones that make you feel like you're not just driving a box on wheels. Still, I couldn't ignore how this car made me feel. Seen, heard, protected, prepared. I found myself pulling into the garage, sitting there for a few extra minutes, listening to the quiet hum of the hybrid motor cooling down. My kids would be asleep in the back, my wife texting me to come inside. And I'd just sit there in the glow of the JBL sound system, the soft ambient lighting, the peace of knowing that this minivan wasn't just a car, it was a co-dash pilot. It didn't just get us where we were going, it got me. And just as I thought I was sold, just as I felt I'd made the best choice for our family, the first con reared its head. Late one evening, fully loaded from a Costco run, I needed every inch of space. Third row, upright. Kids on board, groceries packed, and suddenly, I realized something. Cargo space was tight. With all seats in use, the trunk was modest. The 2024 model, in my memory, had slightly better flexibility back there, and I started to wonder, had I traded convenience for cool? The seed of doubt was planted. But I wasn't ready to give up on the 2025 Sienna just yet. because the real test that was coming with storm clouds ahead, and one moment that would change everything I thought I knew about this minivan. They say you don't know a car until you've been through a storm in it. Not a metaphor, a literal, wild, roaring, lightning-popping storm. One of those nights where everything that can go wrong, does. It started as a quiet Friday evening. Rain in the forecast, nothing serious. My wife made pasta, the kids were watching a movie, and I was on the porch scrolling through weather alerts, more out of habit than fear. But within an hour, the sky turned that strange shade of green-gray. The wind kicked up. The power blinked, and then died. Everything fell into silence, except for the growl of thunder rolling across the neighborhood like a war drum. We live on the edge of town, not rural, but not exactly city grid either, so when trees started swaying like dancers in a panic and my neighbor's gutter flew clean off into the street, I knew this wasn't just another spring shower. That's when my phone buzzed. Need help. Flooded, can't get out. It was my neighbor, 2 blocks down. Young couple, 1 toddler. No AWD, no backup generator. No chance of making it out in their old compact sedan. I looked at my wife. She nodded before I even asked. I grabbed the keys. Not to the 2024, not anymore. I walked straight to the 2025 Sienna, hybrid, AWD, full tank. Ready, this was the moment it had to prove itself. Not in a showroom, not in a brochure, not in a dealership. Pitch but out there, in the chaos, the rain pounded like fists on the roof as I loaded sandbags in the rear. The traction control, tuned with the new Sport-Tune suspension on the XSE trim, handled the soaked road better than I imagined. It wasn't a truck, and yet, it moved like something born to tackle more than just carpool lanes. I turned on the high-beam LEDs, fired up the JBL sound system just to hear something steady, and navigated through downed branches and pooling water. That night, the hybrid engine didn't just sip fuel, it hauled responsibility. I reached their house, waded to the porch, scooped up their soaked bags, wrapped the toddler in my coat, and loaded everyone in. The 4-zone climate control kicked in. No icy blasts or heated fights over the settings. Just quiet comfort. And in that moment, when the kid curled up in the super long slide captain's chair, clutching a toy truck, as the Sienna crawled back through the storm like a tank, I realized, this wasn't just a car I liked, this was a car I trusted. But trust isn't blind. Let's talk cons, because they're real, and they matter. First, no engine option. If you're the kind of driver who likes a good V6 growl or quick uphill acceleration, the hybrid-only setup might feel tame. On steep climbs, especially with full load and a WD, there's a subtle lag, not dangerous, but noticeable. You'll miss that punch. Second, price jump. Compared to the 2024 model, the 2025 Sienna isn't cheap. Once you add the bells and whistles, platinum trim, fridge box, built-in vacuum, JBL system, you're staring at a number that starts to feel more SUV than minivan. It's an investment. Third, cargo space is tighter when all seats are up. Family of 6. All seats deployed, you'll be playing Tetris with luggage. The 2024's storage felt a bit more forgiving. Fourth, trim confusion. Between the XLE, XSE, Woodland Limited, and Platinum. It's a buffet of options that quickly turns into a puzzle. Want luxury but not the Sport-Tune suspension. Want a WD, without the higher-end price. You'll need a spreadsheet to decode it all. And yet, here's the truth. The 2025 Sienna isn't about being perfect, it's about being prepared. It's about the moments between the specs, the day your child gets carsick and you use the built-in vacuum without pulling over. The night your partner texts you, "Can you grab ice cream?" And the fridge box saves the night. The Sunday morning road trip where the JBL system turns the back seat into a concert hall and the kids. Finally, stop fighting. It's about those millimeter wave rear seat radars that don't let you forget what truly matters. No matter how distracted life gets. It's about safety systems that correct your lane. Drift before you even realize you're drifting, because sleep-deprived parents don't always drive like NASCAR pros. It's about knowing your car is watching over your family. Even when you're not. So what's the verdict? I drove the 2024 Sienna. I respected it. It earned its place. But the 2025 Sienna, it demands more than respect. It demands trust. Not because it's flashier, not because it's trendier, but because every change, every trim upgrade, every tech tweak, every radar pulse feels like it was designed by someone who's lived in the passenger seat of real life. And if that costs a little more, if I have to give up some old school torque, if I have to study a trim guide for an hour, so be it. Because when the storm hits, when the juice spills, when the kid falls asleep and the power goes out, I don't need horsepower. I need peace of mind, and the 2025 Toyota Sienna gave me that every single time I turned the key. So yes, call it a minivan if you must, but to me, it's a mission vehicle for the moments we plan and the ones we never see coming. And that's why, hands down, the 2025 Sienna doesn't just beat the 22 for. It redefines what the future of family driving looks like.